Have you ever wondered why the same families tend to come into political power again and again in America, even though we're a democracy and anyone can run? Now, to start things off, these families are called dynasties, and more specifically, presidential dynasties. Now, dynasty is kind of a weird term to use in a democracy, but we're just using the Merriam-Webster definition, which in layman's terms is just a line of people in the same family who come into power. Another piece that falls into presidential dynasties is that they have to be at least two family members within the same line that become presidents. Now, George H.W. Bush and his son George W., who's known for such quotes as, "How many is a Brazilian?" and "It's clearly a budget, it's got a lot of numbers in it." They have another candidate running for office, which, if he succeeds, they'll be the biggest presidential dynasty in American history. But, unfortunately for them, it looks like he's not doing so hot. But it doesn't really matter if they're the biggest dynasty, because they still are one. Now, if we look at George H.W. and George W.'s polls, we'll see a big spike on both, which is really important. Now, a big spike can mean a couple of things. It can either be the people's sympathy with him for a great tragedy, or it can be for something they did extremely well in office. Now, in George W.'s case, it was the latter, when he dealt with 9/11 excellently. But in George H.W.'s, they're completely different because his wife fell off a sled during their time at Winter Park. Well, if George W. and his father aren't all that connected, what about Jeb and either of them? So if we look back at Jeb's kinda low polls, we'll see another spike. And this one was due to random circumstance. I'm not even kidding. I looked all over the internet and I couldn't find a single thing that he did on November 23rd. Now, there's no correlation between the Bushes when it came to their presidencies, but what about Bill Clinton and his daughter who's running for office, Hillary? Now, I know Hillary isn't in office yet, but she's polling about 50%, so it kinda looks like she's gonna win. If we look at Hillary's polls first, we'll see that she has no upward spikes. She has a downward spike during the presidential debate, but during her candidacy, she's done nothing remarkable, especially nothing comparable to Bill. Alright, so it looks like there's no correlation between the presidents and what they did well in their presidencies when it comes to families. But why is that? Now, if we look at what happened during the presidencies, we'll see some very different types of things going on. So it's not that they didn't have the same beliefs at all, it's just that those same beliefs didn't really stick out. So Bush dealt really well with terrorism, even though he and his father may have had very similar views. But his father didn't have to deal with it at all. So while his views stuck out, his father's didn't. And in Hillary's candidacy, nothing really remarkable has happened so far, and in Bill's, plenty has happened. And so their opinions, like the Bushes, haven't had the chance to stick out. There's more info down below. If I missed anything, you can check it out, or if there's anything I haven't quite looked at to the best of my ability, or if you think you can do better, go ahead. Thanks.